a new image sponsor slideshow. I'm competing with Imperium, and I also am working with Drink Poggers, so go check that out. You can get 15% off on your first order and then 10% after each order. And go check out Imperium on Twitter as well. I think it's imp_GG, like this. And then it's 15% off using code Slakks. All right, I'm gonna watch this, and I'm gonna be using this for a YouTube video. So if you ask any questions, I'll probably answer them near the end. I mean, it was kind of inevitable, I think, that Blizzard was gonna add the Lich King, Death Knights to the game, based on their expansion and like what they were doing with Classic WoW. But to be honest, I really didn't like the previous expansion for Hearthstone. A lot of control-y kind of weird, weirdly named cards that I just think it kind of changes the way that the game is being played. It's kind of, if you look at like Runeterra, there's a lot of things that like Runeterra has in it that Hearthstone then added with the latest expansion. So, I mean, this video is pretty sick though. I do think this expansion looks very intriguing, though. It just depends on like what deck lists come out, because Death Knight looks sick. Like the Reborn tag, I think that's interesting. March of the Lich King. Okay.
Hello and welcome to the tavern. That's right, the Lich King is on the march and will soon arrive. In our next expansion, the Lich King and his undead army, the Scourge, have laid siege to Silvermoon City, capital of the noble Blood Elves. And Death Knights
I also think that it's good that they're bringing it into these areas, because like the last expansion was like Dynathrius, and I mean that's kind of new age for me, so I didn't really follow it that much.
Lots of cards. Let's get into it.
I remember Death Knight being added was like, I think 4 years ago that they were thinking of adding, but now it's pretty interesting that they're putting it in now.
But things are a little different this time around, right?
That's right. This time the Lich King's back, joining the roster of heroes, adding Death Knight as the 11th class in Hearthstone.
Death Knights are the unliving champions of the Scourge. They fortify themselves with the power of blood, blast their enemies with a chill of frost, and raise the dead with unholy fervor.
To get to know the new class, you will follow the journey of Prince Arthas Menethil in an action-packed solo adventure as he goes down the dark path that leads him to becoming a Death Knight.
Okay, so you're gonna have to do the
This is the greatest Warcraft story ever told, now in Hearthstone.
The intro stuff,
in this
which
prologue, you play as
not a
the
big fan
new
of that.
Death Knight class, and you'll face down some of Hearthstone's
Yeah,
greatest
the prologue
heroes,
shit.
including Uther, Sylvanas, and Illidan. The prologue will be available to all players for free.
After you complete the prologue and become the Lich King, you'll unlock the Death Knight class, which also gives you access to their core set, and it's huge. 32 cards. That's nearly twice the size of the other classes, and will continue to be that large.
See, that's a thing I kind of disagree with too, is like you're automatically like putting exponential growth on a class, whereas like the other classes have always been on a back foot. Like when Demon Hunter came in, they had such a buff because their cards were so overpowered, and then with new expansions, they just got stronger and stronger. So that's like one thing that, like 32 cards are like doubling it. It's
the
kind of
opportunity to try a bunch of different Death Knight strategies on launch. So we also created the Path of Arthas, which is a set of 26 additional Death Knight cards to help you power up your collection.
Okay.
And the Path of Arthas bundle comes with 3 advanced Death Knight decks, so that you're battle ready on day 1.
Oh, and there's still also an expansion set, so that's another 10 Death Knight cards there too. In total, Death Knight launches with a whopping 68 cards.
They have a huge card set with 50% more cards than we launched with Demon Hunter. Death Knights have the most varied gameplay.
Yeah, see, so like I think it depends on the varied gameplay, because they always say this in like every trailer that there's going to be like varied gameplay. They're going to switch up like what they're gonna do for each classes and stuff. But then like once like pro players actually use these decks, you're gonna be using like 2, 3, 4 variations of like one thing that's like really strong. You see now with like how Rogue is in the current expansion, with like male Rogue, which I think is a really unique like subclass, I guess. But then there's so many other strong like Rogue decks that you can play, but in the end they're not like super broken. Whereas this, or like how Demon Hunter was, I'm basically basing a lot of my information off of Demon Hunter. When Demon Hunter first came out, it was so fucking broken.
Of any class in Hearthstone.
Like
Okay, there's a lot of
aggro
cards.
or like
Let's get into their
control was
gameplay,
just way
and more
too
importantly,
strong.
see some of these cards. Let's start with the Death Knight hero power. Ghoul Charge. Summon a 1/1 ghoul with charge. It dies at end of turn. Death Knights raise the expendable
pretty good.
undead to fight for them.
2
For
mana,
Death
1/1
Knights,
with
dying
charge,
is
it's
all part
okay.
of the game. In fact, it's essential to
But
power up some of
I
your
almost
new
can
cards
guarantee it's gonna
using
be
their new
like
mechanic.
how Grim Patron was, where it's like if you play it and then it kills something and dies, you're gonna have a card that's gonna be like play all frail ghouls that died in the turn.
Corpses. Whenever a friendly minion dies, you add another corpse to the pile. You
Yeah.
can see your corpse counter underneath your mana bar.
Many Death Knight cards spend those corpses to unlock additional effects.
Yeah, see, I figured.
So, you ready to show some cards?
Let's do it.
All right, here's Army of the Dead. Raise up to 5
Yeah.
corpses as 2/2 ghouls with rush. It doesn't matter what minions died to give you the corpses, they're just a resource to be consumed.
If the necromantic harvesting
Okay.
of corpses makes you squeamish, you can think about it like recycling, just with dead things.
It can also be used to power some spells. Corpse Explosion is my
Detonated
favorite
corpse,
spell in
yeah.
World of Warcraft, so I'm really excited to bring it to Hearthstone to be the coolest board clear that we've ever made. As long as
Oh
there's minions
God,
on the board,
here we go
and
with
you have
control
corpses,
again.
Fun never stops.
If you have excess corpses but are short on cards, you can use Defrost for some card draw. So there are numerous cards that spend corpses to do all sorts of things.
You might have noticed that there's some cards that have little symbols underneath the mana cost.
was just about to
that
ask
brings us
that.
to the new big topic, runes.
There are 3 types of runes, and we brought a friend to the Blizzard campus to help reveal them.
I'm here with the fabulous Ali Straza.
Thank you.
Well,
So
Alex
excited to be
Strauss is
here.
We have a new class coming, Death Knight.
All right.
And Death Knights use runes to specialize their deck. Ali's gonna help us reveal those runes. We have a few challenges lined up for you. You ready to go?
I'm super ready.
Let's do it.
Oh God.
Welcome to our first challenge. We have 5 tons of snow for you.
This is real snow.
Yeah.
Like actually snow.
Somewhere in this 5 tons of snow is our first rune. Here are your rune finding tools.
Okay.
Have at it.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sure we can just like skip
Take your
this.
time.
Assistance.
That's
We'll
not
find
snow.
it.
That's
Oh,
definitely
what'd you
fake.
find?
I found it. Frost. Beautiful.
Yeah, good. I can skip
Found
that
the
shit.
frost rune.
All right, let's go get some hot chocolate before the zombies arrive.
Wait, zombies.
This is your second challenge. You're looking
Easy.
just
I
really.
mean,
dig in
at least
there.
they're doing something with it. But I mean, like, I
Hold on.
just want to see
I
like
don't-
what
I
it
didn't
is.
want to hurt the worms.
The rune you
Oh my god. Okay.
keep trying.
Rune. Definitely.
Thanks, Ali.
Runes are a way of specializing your Death Knight
Okay, here we
deck
go.
towards a wide range of playstyles.
Blood, Frost, and Unholy runes. These are critical to building a Death Knight deck. During deck construction, there are 3 rune slots. You can fill them with any combination of Blood, Frost, or Unholy runes to choose how much you want to devote yourself to that playstyle.
Okay.
Your deck's runes control what Death Knight cards you can add to your deck. We wanted to build a new axis for players who liked deck building to give them more depth when constructing decks. If you're someone who prefers to use other people's decks, don't worry. The rune system's gonna feel pretty invisible, as copy-pasting deck codes is gonna feel pretty much the way it was. Since most Death Knight cards have rune requirements on them, runes greatly impact what your deck feels like. Corpse Explosion requires 2 blood runes, so your deck has to have at least 2 blood
Okay,
runes
that's
to be able to
interesting.
add
I kinda
Corpse
like that a
Explosion
little
to your
bit.
deck.
Death Knights can do many incredibly powerful
So
things.
so essentially
can't
they're
just
breaking what I said earlier with cards that are going to be used with like the 60 whatever cards they have, but they're going to be breaking it down so that you can't use certain cards if you don't use other
pick
cards,
the
other
best
like
cards.
the
The rune
correct
system
emblems or
lets you
runes or whatever.
specialize
Okay.
your deck, but in a very flexible way, full of interesting trade-offs. So let's talk about how each specialization of Death Knight plays and what makes them unique.
Well, first, Blood Death Knights. Blood Death Knights are big meat bags and incredibly resilient. They drain life force from their opponents and defend with walls of flesh and bone. They have these powerful removal cards, lifesteal, health manipulation, and huge minions, and they control the game. If you want to dip your toe into blood with a single blood rune, you can get big defensive minions.
Patchwork. Destroy random minion in your opponent's hand, deck, and battlefield. Okay, it's okay. Destroy minion, your hero takes damage equal to its health. So blood looks
Removal,
like
disruption, all of that's
more
valuable to Blood Death
control-y?
Knights, but it's also powerful to other decks that focus on other runes. Blood Boil is another powerful control tool against wide boards.
So yeah,
when
they're
you're low
talking
on
mainly
health.
control
Both
stuff.
Blood
That's
Boil
okay.
and Corpse Explosion require 2 runes, so they'll define how your deck works, but give you that ability to
Oh
flex
my
into
god,
other runes for that
perma-healing?
extra
God, I don't like
versatility.
that.
And if you're super excited
As
to
someone who
dive
plays like
headfirst into
aggro
Triple
and
Blood,
like mid-range
then
decks.
Pyrrhic Blood can give you an extreme effect that increases your max health.
Oh no.
Okay, Frosty Case. These are my favorite. They slice and dice their way through their opponents in a
So,
flurry of cold steel and icy blasts.
aggressive,
They utilize
maybe?
direct damage, spell synergies, the Frost spell school, mana manipulation, and of course, some freeze. Here are some single Frost cards. We've got some card
Draw a card, spend 2 corpses to draw another. After friendly mate undead dies, draw a card. Okay, so this could be good with stuff with your hero power. That's actually pretty good. Deal 4 damage next spell. This turn costs 2 less.
draw,
Okay.
some direct damage.
seems okay.
Mechanics well suited for Frost decks, but also available to decks focused on other runes. These are a couple double Frost cards.
Refresh 2 mana
Horn of
crystals.
Winter is great for bursting
Draw
out
2
some
spells
combo
if they're
pieces
both
together.
2 mana.
Overseer Frigidara provides some strong synergy for decks that focus on Frost School spells. And here's a triple Frost card, Frostworm's Fury. Only a triple Frost deck can use it, but it can deal damage, freeze the enemy board, and put a threat of your own on
I
the
like
board.
that
And it's a Frost School
they
spell,
are
which
kind
matters
of
for many of
changing
their
up the way deck building is done. Again, I don't think it'll be changing that much as they mentioned earlier with like just copying. Basically like 90% of player base probably just goes to Hearthstone top decks and just like basically copies it if they have the cards. So don't think it'll change anything too much, but
Okay.
at
Last
least
is
they're
Unholy. This is my
incorporating new
favorite.
things.
Unholy Death Knights raise relentless armies of the undead. They flood the board with minions and buff them all. They're also the most adept at generating and using corpses. For just a single Unholy rune,
Summon 2/1 zombies with Reborn. Deal 3 damage to a minion if that kills it. Summon 2. Okay, so yeah, they're
you'll
board
get some
control-y.
powerful options like
I think
these.
that's cool.
Perfect for Unholy decks, but also attractive to other strategies that might want to generate more corpses. In double Unholy, Battlefield Necromancer's great at keeping you protected with taunt minions. And if you've generated a whole bunch of corpses, Lord Marogar is the ultimate corpse spender, but requires entirely dedicating your runes to Unholy.
What
All right, that
the
covers
fuck?
Blood, Frost, and Unholy, but there's also a few Death Knight cards that require no runes. These tend to be more general purpose cards, generically useful to mini decks.
Between the Death Knight core set, the Path of Arthas set,
Okay, I
and
want to
March of
see this. I want to see this.
the Lich King, there are 68 Death Knight cards entering Standard, including 10 legendaries. 10!
Okay, you've seen what the 3 rune types are all about, but how do they fit together to make some sweet decks? Well, I mentioned before that the Path of Arthas bundle comes with 3 pre-made decks to get you started.
Aw,
Let's take a look
pre-made
at a
decks, and
couple
no
of
one
those
uses
now
that
to
shit.
help make the rune system clear.
The blood deck from Path of Arthas is Blood, Blood, Unholy. Now remember, corpses are a new resource for Death Knights, but control decks don't run a lot of minions, mostly just big ones, so your corpse generation is kind of low. So we'll dip into Unholy for cards like Graveyard Shift, which is a very efficient corpse generator. You get 4 corpses from just 1 card.
The Path of Arthas Frost deck is a spicy combo deck. It's triple Frost. Powerful Frost spells for direct damage, mana cheating, and icy combo potential.
okay.
Matt, you're in for an absolute flurry of ice shards gonna be thrown your way.
That's fine. I'll counter with Unholy Frost for Smork from the grave! You'll never be able to clear all my boards, and card draw synergies from Frost will help keep the waves of undead coming.
We'll see about that. Oh, and I almost forgot.
Okay,
We
that's
keep
cool.
mentioning undead.
Oh yeah, undead. Undead is a new minion type, representing the various forms of dead minions that have been brought back to
Nice.
life. For example, we've got Infected Peasant. That's a living minion. It death rattles into Undead Peasant. Undead
Okay,
minion.
that's good.
I mean,
I
it's
think
right
these
there
are
in the
really
name.
good for aggro.
And Skeletal Sidekick will buff any undead minion.
A common phrase you'll see
I like
for
that.
undead synergies is if a friendly undead died after your last turn. This new minion type cares about death, so if your opponent cleared your board on their turn, or you traded your minions in on your current turn, cards like Bone Flinger will be
I think with the latest expansion, they might make aggro decks a little bit stronger. Again, this is just a theory based on how strong the Dynathrius card is, being like you get 40 HP, you get 40 cards, right? And then also now with like how strong control decks are, slash like not really playing a lot of cards at face value, like you're not really controlling board as much as you are with like controlling or using spells, I should say, that control the board rather than controlling the board with minions. So maybe they're trying to make aggro a little bit better, but that's just a theory.
active.
When designing undead, we wanted to find a mechanic that made players feel like their minions were really rising from the grave. Turns out the perfect mechanic was right under our noses the whole time. Reborn. Originally from the Saviors of Uldum expansion, Reborn means that the first time a Reborn minion dies, it returns to life with 1 health.
Okay, cool.
Perfect. And so,
Yeah, I mean, Reborn was
is
really
back
good
as an
back then.
evergreen
I remember
keyword.
that.
And if we've got a minion type that cares about dying and that uses Reborn, hey, that gives me an idea. We haven't made a Rager lately. Scourge Rager ends up as the 5/1 Rager
Reborn,
stat
Battle
line,
Cry, die.
but triggers your undead synergies. And it's great value to resurrect, too.
We poured over every Hearthstone card we've ever made and added the undead type to hundreds of minions from
Okay,
past
that's
sets.
good.
But especially with the addition of undead, we kept running into questions like, is this skeletal dragon an undead or a dragon? We concluded the coolest answer would be both. So we've added dual type minions, such as
Ooh,
undead
okay,
Quillbolt.
that's really good. Dual type is actually really good for the game because I've been seeing that way back in the day when people would say that with what expansion was that, like goblins versus gnomes, like way back then. That was like the first expansion and people were still saying like,
Or from the
oh, are
Barrens.
they gonna do like what other games do, like Pokemon, where you have like a fairy water type, you know what I mean, for an example, and then you have to play like your double water and your single fairy. Now that they're adding this, at least it kind of stays with the themes of the actual cards that you're
Or
gonna play,
pirates that happen to be
or like
Murlocs.
themed card decks, I
Or
should say.
demons.
Or this brand new undead beast, Invincible. The Lich King Steed is a tavern full of stats that's great for undead focused decks.
So
Oh,
we've
seemed
got the
pretty cool.
Lich King, Death Knights,
I don't know if the
and Undead.
cost
There's still a
is-
whole expansion to go over, though. Let's grab some friends.
See if it's good into the late game.
Hey, friends. Hey.
Okay, so let's talk about the new expansion. Our
I like their
story
set. Their set
begins
looks
as
really
the
cool.
Lich King wakes from a long slumber. He sends his undead armies against the cities of Azeroth, kicking off the Second Scourge War, or as World of Warcraft players might call it, Wrath of the Lich King. Hearthstone's latest expansion casts a spotlight on one besieged city, the Blood Elf capital of Silvermoon.
Silvermoon.
Now,
yeah,
along
sick.
with the Death Knights, half of our classes have allied with the Lich King's undead Scourge, and half with the Blood Elves, right? So here's a rundown of what the Scourge-aligned classes are up to. Warlocks use frightful soul magic, priests have necromancers to raise the dead, shamans are calling forth ancient spirits of the Drakari ice trolls, rogues craft clever concoctions, druids bring forth skittering death, and all of them can take advantage of exciting new undead synergies. There are also numerous
actually wanna
things
see
to take
that.
advantage
Unliving Champion Battlecry. If a friendly undead died after your last turn, summon 2 or 3/2 zombies.
of
So
exciting new
okay, so they're
undead
adding
synergies.
undeads to other decks
There
too.
are also
I mean, I kind of
numerous
expected
undead
that,
in
but
neutral, and that'll establish a foundation for undead decks to come. So that is the Scourge, but we've also got lots of Blood Elves.
Blood Elves. Silvermoon is the capital city of the Blood Elves, and we had a really wonderful time turning this beautiful, warm, and sunny city into an icy battlefield. Silvermoon City is located in this region called Quel'Thalas, and the Blood Elves will fight to the end for their homeland. So
Okay.
there are 5 major factions of Blood Elves, and each is represented by one of our classes. First up, the Magisters. They are mages, and they're led by the Grand Magister Ramith. They're masters of magic.
Next up,
Okay,
the
okay.
Far Striders,
Not bad.
led by Haldraan Brightwing. They're resourceful hunters and sling arcane
Okay, here
arrows.
we go. The hunter god comes in. Discover a spell from your deck. If it's arcane, give it spell damage.
At
Eh,
their foes.
not great.
I'm really excited for the Blood Knights, a very different sort of paladin. Blood Elves have bent the light to their will by force and are darker and more vengeful than most of the other paladins you've seen before. Blood Matriarch Liadrin, who you
Every
also
summon a
saw in
minion
our
with less
opening
attack than this,
cinematic,
give it
commands the
rush
Blood
and divine
Knights.
shield.
Yeah, and then
Okay.
for Warrior, we've got the Spellbreakers. They're valiant defenders of the city, and they're led by Asvedon the Grand Shield. But Warrior also features a few other extra spicy cards that I'm particularly fired up about.
And finally, we've
Okay,
got
okay.
Demon Hunter. Following some regrettable recent events, many of the Blood Elves have become addicted to fell magic, transforming them into fell Blood Elves. They're now outcasts of Blood Elf society, lurking in the dark corners and alleys of Silvermoon. But when the
Okay.
Scourge attack, they unite
Not
under
bad.
the leadership of Felrin the Forgotten to join the fight.
That covers the 5 classes.
Street
but we've also got
Sweeper.
many of the denizens of Silvermoon in neutral, including Lorthamar Throne, the Regent Lord of Quel'Thalas.
Whoa.
But there's something else that unites the Blood Elves, isn't there?
There is. We've also got a new keyword for the expansion, used across the Blood Elven classes and neutral. It's called Mana Thirst. Mana Thirst cards do something extra if you have X mana crystals. It doesn't spend that mana. These cards just become more powerful past a certain point in the game. Okay, I have one last
Okay.
card to show you.
So yeah, that's similar to like Magic, right? I think in Magic
And
they have
this is a
something like
special
that.
one. Mana Thirst represents the Blood Elves' dependence on magical energies. And the main source of magical energy for them is the Sunwell. This great font of magical power
Totally
that
handling that,
Silvermoon is built around. This is Hearthstone's first neutral spell, and everyone is going to get a chance to give it a try as we're giving it out
First
just for
neutral spell.
logging in.
Again,
for
adding new
free,
things, good.
starting today. And we have a few more announcements to share. There's an exciting new type of collectible coming, signature cards.
One of the most requested types of cosmetics. This new card showcases the full card art. Here's a look at March of the Lich King signature cards. We've gone with an icy sepia style, along with a dark and scourgy frame. In total,
Good
there are
at
18 signature
additions.
cosmetic cards for the March of the Lich King, including 15 legendaries.
Kind of like
You'll
full
find them in
hollows
card
or whatever they
packs,
call it.
and they're not
or,
craftable.
Yeah.
March of the
yeah.
Lich King golden packs have been upgraded to signature golden packs. They have a higher chance of including legendaries and signature cards,
But it'll
and will
cost
be
you.
available for direct purchase at launch.
Yeah.
And here's one more. Lorthamar Throne. We think signature cards are elegant and unique, and we hope you will too.
Okay.
Okay, we're almost done, but we do have one more thing. Cord, got something cool to share?
Yeah, let's talk about events.
All right, we've had events in Hearthstone, like Midsummer Fire Festival, Noble Garden, and Lunar New Year. What's changing?
Well, our events have been delivered mainly through Legendary Quests, which were great, but we'd like to do more. And to do that, we've created a new event system. Time-limited events now have a dedicated place within the Hearthstone menu, and when an event is active, a
So I
wax
saw this
seal
the other
will
day when I
replace
logged
the journal
in,
button
so-
to let you know something special is going on. When you first enter, you'll be presented with an invitation to join in the festivities with a rundown of the event. There's now a dedicated page of the journal to support new events with quests and rewards. We've kept much of what's fun about Legendary Quests, you know, play the game, complete quests, get cool prizes. But now we present those rewards front and center, paired with awesome art and a little bit of story. And they're placed on a reward track, allowing us to better control content pacing. We're kicking things off with the Knights of Hollow's End event. The Headless Horseman rides north to answer the call of the Lich King. And it's not just quests and rewards from this event. At the same time, the entire Knights of the Frozen Throne set will be added to core, making it free for everyone and back in standard.
So you can go play with all the old hero cards. And when does this go live?
Right now,
Right now.
the Knights of Hollow's End event lasts for 2 weeks, and Knights of the Frozen Throne will remain all the way until the launch of March of the Lich King.
Now you can catch up on what happened the last time the Lich King visited the tavern in preparation for his permanent return on December 6th.
Number 6.
Well, that wraps it up. The March of the Lich King pre-purchase bundles are available now, and the Mega Bundle this time is focused entirely on constructed play, including 2 signature legendaries, 5 signature golden packs and the entire 26-card Path of Arthas bundle, along with the typical card packs and goodies. Thank you very much. Don't forget to log in now for your free Sunwell card, and check out Knights of the Frozen Throne cards back in Standard. We can't wait to see you in Silvermoon.
December 6th. Okay, so overall, I think the additions are really good. I think one thing is, like, again, with deck building, it's kind of setting you up to know what your opponent is playing based on the fact that now, like, with the Unholy, Fervor, Frost, and Blood, that they're going to obviously be playing like a particular deck, which is okay, I think. But we'll have to see once deck building comes out, because I feel like it might make games a little bit predictable, I guess you'd say. But I do like that they're increasing aggro play. I think that is like a big thing, because aggro was so bad for so long. So that is really good with the latest expansion that is currently live. So definitely excited for that. I think that should be pretty cool. All right.